You guys wouldn't be able to see me. I face the camera towards me anyway. So I'm in my car right now. One of my cars is a hybrid. So you might hear it like cut on and cut off. I'm about to cut the air conditioner on. It's cold in Northern California. It is not like what people think. You know what I mean? Like people be thinking it's warm in Cali, but I live in Northern California. Okay. Um So I wanted to get on here for a moment and do a live stream. And I'm sorry you guys can't see me, but it would be dark anyway. I'm sitting in the Target parking lot. I was about to go into the Target and I wanted to like talk about something first before I went in because I don't have a lot of time to do live streams like I used to. Make sure you thumbs up the live stream when you get here. Make sure you thumbs up the live stream. Okay, so I want to talk about my years being on YouTube, and a lot of them been very hard because of a lot of internet drama. And earlier this year in May, a rumor spread that I committed suicide, right? That video is still up where I addressed what happened. I went into deep detail about what happened. And I'm not going to talk about what happened all over again because it's such a long story that includes so many different people that if I was to speak about it, you would get confused anyway. You wouldn't be able to understand what was going on if I sit here and I explain every single person that had something to do with internet drama that I've experienced for the many years I've been on YouTube. Now, for the latter part of the years that I've been on YouTube, I think a lot of people were purposely trying to destroy like my reputation on YouTube. And I learned a lot from these people, and let me explain why. I learned a lot about how people misuse the internet. I learned a lot that a lot of people don't have emotional discipline because a lot of people feel like everything that they see and or read deserves a response or a reaction or an opinion about it. Right? Make sure you thumbs up the live stream when you get in here because this is going to be a interesting one. This is going to be a good one. Because I'm just going to talk about my experiences personally, and I'm not going to sit here and drag anybody, expose anybody, or lie about anybody. I'm going to try not to name names because, like I said a minute ago, even if I sat here and I named everybody, a lot of you wouldn't know who these people were. Or are. So I built a lot of friendships being on YouTube because I was the type of person that wanted to feel comfortable in my space. Like when I did live streams, I tend to know who's in the live stream by name, talk to everybody. And I did that for many years. Okay. But the one thing that I didn't like about live streams is the trolling. It would be people that would come into my live streams and troll. It would be people who wanted to come into my live streams and actually be moderators because they wanted to have access to my channel and be able to block who they wanted to block. And it really had nothing to do with, whether they were causing problems inside of my chat. So it became like a cult on top of a cult. You know what I mean? Like it'd be a cult of people that were my moderators and they felt like they was better than other people because they were my moderators. And then you had people that I recognized all of the time that was in my comment section and they became a cult in itself. And then those people ended up looking at other people that I didn't recognize and, try to basically control those people and what they thought about what they were seeing me do or moderators do or other content creators do. And I tell new content creators all the time, when you come onto YouTube or you come on any social media platform and you want to become popular on that specific platform, whether it's TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, it doesn't matter. Usually when you become a content creator everywhere and you become popular, it gets different because now you have to worry about your audience now purposely trying to pin you against somebody else. Now, when you look at it from a distance or you look at it when you just comment on for entertainment, you don't think of it that way. Like, remember it used to be on Instagram where it would be a whole bunch of comedians together and they would do skits. It would be a whole bunch of like comedians who would gather together, like D Storm and Benjamin, what's his name? Something Benjamin. I forgot this dude's name. Anyway, it used to be a whole bunch of Instagram content creators that would come together and they would do all of these funny skits on Instagram. And you don't see that as much anymore. Those people don't really work together anymore. But I used to see them all of the time working together. And what people don't realize is it's drama within that as well, just like it would be drama between a lot of YouTube content creators that you would see on here. And so what I learned over the past few years was, number one, I had to keep a lot of the friendships that I had with other content creators behind the scenes, because once everybody found out that I had a friendship with another content creator, it would become something that our audience would do: tell them stuff, claim I said it, tell me stuff, claim they said it, but then sometimes not even have any proof or receipts. And then other times, content creators would burst out of nowhere and like orchestrate some type of beef for shock and awe, just so they could get likes and views and adoration from other people. Because you know just as well as I do, you get onto social media and the stuff that has you looking at it like, oh my God, I can't believe this person said that, is the thing that everybody watches. So last night I was on YouTube for a little while. I like to watch true crime stuff. And one of my moderators sent me some links to some live streams. And one of the live streams that I saw was from a former friend of mine. Now, she wasn't a content creator when she was a friend of mine. And I noticed that a lot of the people that I was friends with that I'm no longer connected to, they ended up becoming content creators. It's almost like they're spinoffs of whatever situation they had with me. It feels like they initially wanted to be content creators from the time we built a friendship. They just didn't tell me that. But in order to become content creators or to gain attention from people in my audience, they begin to portray me as like this negative person, as if me and them had some type of beef when we really did. They did that to gain an audience. So I noticed that all of the friendships that I had built, all of the moderators that I had, it was biting me in the ass. It was biting me in the ass that I built these friendships with people that weren't content creators. They were just people that was inside of my audience. So I built these friendships. I made them moderators, talked to them via email, maybe talked to them over the phone. And it took away, like, I want to say my security. Because, put it like this. If you're Beyonce, let's say you're Beyonce. I'm not saying I'm Beyonce. I'm just saying, say you're Beyonce, right? And everything that you touch turns to gold. How many people would want to be around you? How many people would walk up to you with an object and expect you to turn it to gold so they can later on walk away and go sell this thing and have some money? Think about that. Of course, you're going to meet a lot of people who are going to come into your life and they don't necessarily mean well, but they will pretend that they do. And they'll bring something to you, expecting for you to touch it and turn it to gold so they can benefit. All right? That's just an example. That's the kind of stuff I was dealing with and had no clue. Not because, I don't know, not because of what you think, but because I always classify myself as a normal person. And for me, that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, because I never looked at myself as someone that was separate from everybody else. I had a shit ton of humility. And sometimes having that much humility will harm you if you have so much to offer, or if you have an abundance of resources, or, you got an audience. You got people that look at everything that you do. You got influence. You got influence. Now, everybody claims that they're an influencer nowadays. Everybody claims that they got an audience. Everybody claimed that they somebody. I was never claiming that. And that was the issue. And sometimes when I look back, I should have. Because having that humility and being so friendly and gullible and naive put me in a position to where now I had a whole bunch of people clinging on to me for malicious reasons. They had malicious intent, and I didn't know, because I put so much faith in other people. I was still thinking that I could see the good in someone, and the more I focused on the good in them, the more the good would come out. So last night, I got some links to some live streams, and an ex-friend of mine was on there, and she was talking about me. And she was talking about me and a guy that I used to date, and what happened between he and I, and it bothered me. One thing that bothered me was when I was at one of my lowest and everybody saw me on YouTube. I was pregnant. I was hurting. I was asking for donations. I was just in a bad place. Hey, smooth guy. I was in a bad place. And I would talk to her. And that was a problem. I should have never let a complete stranger that I had just met online get that close to me to where we could sit down and we could have conversations about what I was going through personally. You have to be specific about who you choose to do that with. You know, we get online every day and we meet a whole bunch of people and they may seem cool, like we met them in a group or we met them on a community in a YouTube community, and we start putting trust in these people. Not because we met them in real life, but because we like the way they converse with us. Some people put on a facade. Some people pretend to be something that they're not. So you have to be careful when you do that. So I'm sitting here and I'm pouring out my pain to this chick, right? I'm pouring my pain out. And she wasn't the only one. I did it to like one other chick. And both of these chicks ended up turning on me later. And it hurt me for a long time. Now, one of these chicks decided she wanted to do a live stream last night, and it disappointed me a lot. She's done live streams about me before, and it didn't bother me, and I didn't have a response. But last night, it bothered me, and let me explain to you why. Number one, it was an embarrassment to see her get onto social media and be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So bad to where you could hear it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing for you to get on social media and hear somebody doing a live stream and they're drinking and they're having a good time versus a conversation being something serious to where this could be an opportunity where you can help somebody else. But instead, everything you say is distorted now and all muggy because you are under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So no one could really like take what you're saying and really classify it as legitimate because now they're listening to a drunk, high person. Okay. So, hey, Soup Bone. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to what she has to say, and she's talking about my history. Now, for the most part, she's getting the story correct, right? But what she isn't factoring is the times that she's gotten her hands dirty. Now, when you're on social media, right, and you post stuff, you post pictures, you post videos, you post quotes or whatever, you can easily go back and delete these quotes. And there's so much happening online that people will forget you even said and did these things. Okay? But the people that you genuinely hurt will not forget it, regardless to how much you try to depict yourself as a person that has clean hands. All right? So she's depicting herself as the person that has clean hands. Like, she's never lied, she's never exposed, she's never been untrustworthy, she's never, posted anybody's private information or told anybody's private business. And I'm thinking, as she's sitting there and she's talking about me and she's telling everybody that she's one of my advocates, I'm thinking to myself, anybody that believes that this woman has been a 100% advocate of mine has got to be half with it. They have to be half with it. Number one, they're listening to somebody that's under drugs and alcohol. Number two, they're listening to someone who has lied about me in the past to other people and spoken negatively about me to other people. Now, when people decide to make change, like say, for instance, I've changed a lot, because of the experiences that I've had in life. Everybody does. Let's say, for instance, you decide that you want to change. You used to do a whole bunch of messed up stuff to people. Now you apologize. Now you want to be different and you want to be forgiven. All right. So you start cleaning up your act, right? Usually when you clean up your act, you might slip and fall sometimes, or you might, go back to your old ways temporarily and then come back and be, the best version of yourself you can be. But there are other times when people claim that that's the person that they are, when really they're just riding both sides of the fence. To me, this person was riding both sides of the fence. This person wanted people to believe that she was my advocate when it was convenient for her. But when it was time to make fun of me, or it was, more entertaining to make fun of me, then she would make fun of me. So after listening to her talk, she also spoke about how she had gotten close to somebody that I used to sleep with. Okay, now, any woman who is, 100% woman, when you have friends, okay, and you and this female no longer speak with each other, right? If you a stand-up woman, the last thing you're going to do is get comfy with her ex. Get comfy with somebody that she slept with. Get comfy with, regardless to whether her and her ex are beefing, her ex may not be friends anymore. It doesn't matter. You and her were cool at some point. So the last thing that you're going to do, if you're a stand-up woman, is get close to this man. Now, forgive me, like I said, if you hear my car cutting on and off, because it's hybrid. It's hybrid. So the last thing you're going to do, like I said, is sleep with your ex-friend's ex-boyfriend or somebody that she slept with. That you're not going to do that. A man could never, any woman that I'm no longer friends with, a man could never, that she slept with, never get close to me. Not ever. So she's telling this story about me and the guy that I used to sleep with. He used to be a little ex jump off, right? And me and this little ex jump off were, we cared for each other. We had a decent friendship, but we weren't in a relationship. But this woman knows that he and I deeply care for each other. We couldn't be together because of certain circumstances, right? So she knows this because I spoke to her about it. And then later on, she decided that she wanted to spend a year and a half getting comfy with him on the phone every day, calling each other every day. That's crossing over a boundary, right? Because like I said, a man could never. Like, no. If this specific woman, she had an ex, that ex could never call me and sit down and talk to me for a year and a half about anything, especially not every day, because of my loyalty to her. Even though her and I would not be friends anymore, my loyalty would still be there, because the way that I look at friendship, even if I'm no longer in it, I tend to respect the fact that there was something there. You see what I'm saying? Like, just because it's no longer there doesn't mean I don't respect what was there when it was present. So if you and I had like this best friendship, or me and you was cool, and we built something meaningful together, if we decided to no longer be friends after that, I still would respect the fact that you and I had something with each other, that we cared about each other enough to classify each other as friends, or classify each other as two people to, be with. But when it comes to men, like, and we're just talking about women, like I'm like that with women. With men, right? If I used to be in a relationship with a man and he and I are no longer like getting along, there's a different set of emotions attached to that. So like I said a minute ago, a lot of people don't have a lot of emotional discipline, and they tend to use the internet as a way to express their emotional frustrations. So the guy that she was getting cozy with had used the internet as a place to get, uncomfortable at. Now, my thing is, he had been talking about me in Atlanta for many years. Like, we met in Atlanta. He has been spreading drama, rumors and stuff about me before. And anytime we got in a place where people knew us mutually, people would say he was about that drama. But what he would do he would tell other people that I was about that drama. And it was weird to me because people were always coming to me talking about him. I never approached anybody talking to anybody about him, because the situation that we had was private to me. I didn't feel like it was somebody else's business. But every time we would get into mutual physical spaces where we knew, the same people, I would find out that he had told people I was, a problem, and I was, whatever negative thing that he could find to say. And he had been doing that for a number of years. And so finally, when I decided to get onto YouTube, I'm telling the story about how he and I had been inside of the swingers community. And anybody who's been listening to me for an extended amount of time, you remember these stories, because I still talk about him. I still talk about the stories. I still talk about the swingers lifestyle. I still talk about what made me become poly, because this man was very much an influence to my life. He changed me a lot as far as my sexuality goes, because before that, I wasn't open sexually at all. I wasn't open to any type of relationships at all. He introduced me to a different way of doing things. And It was because we had like this friendship there. But what he would do would be he would talk to other people and get online and try to depict it as it was like if as if it was like this negative experience, as if, you know, it was this drama filled, like negative, horrible thing, when really we were like really digging each other. We were like really, you know, we had a decent friendship. We couldn't be together because of the circumstances, but we did have a lot of fun together. We would go out on dates. We would go have picnics. We would go to the park. We would talk. We would laugh all of the time. We would get drunk together. Of course, we would have sex. We had a decent friendship. But things had to end when he decided to change, you know, how he was dealing with another woman. Like, he was dealing with a woman who had cheated on him. He was engaged to her. They were friends, I think in college. And then they ended up getting engaged. And she was a flight attendant, so she was never around. She was never around. And then he had me around, and he would talk to me about her. Now, I would never tell him anything about my personal business. And the reason why I wouldn't do that is because I felt like that part of my life was designated for a man who was genuinely going to be in a relationship with me. This man had no intention on being inside of a relationship with me. So I couldn't give him the same things I would give a man that I would be with. He and I had an understanding with each other, and it was very mature. But when he would get around other people, he would make it seem like it was something that it wasn't. And he did it when he got onto YouTube. Now, when I got onto YouTube and I first started talking about this experience, I was talking about a book that I had wrote. And it was called Unicorn Atlanta. And Unicorn Atlanta was about my experiences working at the Swingers Club, because I worked at the Swingers Club because he introduced me to the owner of the Swingers Club, and the Swingers Club was about to close. It was called Venus Atlanta, and the guy that owned it, he wanted to renovate the place because it was so old and he wasn't generating any income off of it anymore. So because I was in the modeling industry and I knew a lot of people who were doing like light pornography, hold on, that were doing light pornography, they were doing modeling, they were selling sex toys, they were doing everything that had to do with, you know, basically sexual liberation. And so I decided, okay, I can help you with my promotions, with the promotions and marketing of your club. I do graphic design. I do, you know, I have my degree in business marketing. I can help you with your business and give you another source of income, you know, coming into the club. So what I did was I redid all of his branding. I redid his websites, his graphics, his everything, the promotions for the club entirely. And then he ended up generating enough income because more people were starting to come there. Okay. So when people talk about me and the Swingers Club, they put this negative connotation on top of it because it has something to do with sexuality, not because of anything other than that. You know, because for me, it was always going to be about business. Me being a part of the Swingers lifestyle initially was about business. You know, it wasn't about me having fun. You know, it was me consistently being in that lifestyle because I wanted to help someone out with their business. And what ended up happening is I started seeing other people and their relationships and what was happening with them. And I decided that another way of having relationships was better for me, and that being poly was better for me. And so I got onto YouTube and I started talking about this experience, and I wrote a book called Unicorn Atlanta. And inside of Unicorn Atlanta, this guy was in the book, right? So I reached out to him and I said, hey, you know, I'm writing this book. I would like for you to get a percentage of what I make off of it. Now, during this time, I was at one of the high moments in my YouTube career, because what a lot of people don't understand about YouTube is sometimes you got ups and downs. Like you could get like creator burnout easy. And so I got creator burnout earlier this year in May. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway, I'll get to that later. Anyway, so Chris is his name. I contacted Chris and I said that I wanted to, you know, give him a percentage of the book. And he was very rude to me. He was very rude. And so I went on to social media and I said to ladies, when you do decide to be a Thadiana, if you decide to be a Thadiana, side chick, Jezebel, whore, whatever negative name you can think of for a woman who is sexually liberated, right? When you decide to be this type of woman, you have to factor in that a lot of men who even participated in the sexual activity with you are still sexist and misogynistic. And they will disrespect you and degrade you and try to use your sexuality against you. So you have to be prepared to deal with those consequences. Do not fulfill somebody else's sexual fantasies for them. Do that for you and be comfortable with whatever the consequences are. I entered into swingers lifestyle because he wanted me to. It wasn't an idea of mine. He initially introduced me to it, and it was something that I wanted to do for him. It wasn't until later on that I saw other people having poly relationships, and I decided that that would be a better fit for me instead of me being in monogamous situations. So I feel like as a woman, I wish I would have participated inside of the swingers lifestyle or any other lifestyle that would have changed me sexually, because it was something that I wanted to do, not because I wanted to do a favor for a man that I was in love with or that I cared for or that I was having some, a transitional period with, because he was a transitional guy. He was a guy that I got with after I had been in all of these broken relationships, engagements and stuff, where I was with guys and they just kept cheating on me. They kept complaining about how I wasn't as sexual. They would cheat on me with other women who were more sexual. So when I met this guy and I seen that he had a very high sex appeal. Like he was like so attractive sexually. It's like, it was like his sexual appeal was like beaming off of his body. You know how you meet somebody and they just have all of this passion and all of this. Number one, he was very attractive, even though he was overweight. Like when I met him, he was overweight. He did like how he looks right now. Like a lot of women, I heard a woman last night say that he was attractive. That he was a very attractive man because they saw him be on Tommy Sotomayor's channel, right? And she said, Clyde Diva, she said, that's her name, the woman that said he was attractive. She said when she saw him on Tommy's channel, he looked good. He's a good-looking guy, but when I was dealing with him, he was overweight. But for him to even be overweight, he was still an attractive guy. He still had a lot of sex appeal, and he was very much a gentleman. So by the time I was writing the book and I came to him and asked him for a percentage, he wasn't acting like a gentleman. And it was rare to me because he had been kind to me in the past. It wasn't like he was just treating me like crap the entire time and I just kept dealing with him. But that's what he depicted me as when he would speak of me. He would tell people I was like this low energy woman that he was just using for sex that he didn't want to deal with. That's not our situation at all. But men who don't have emotional discipline behave this way. When they're feeling some type of way, this is how they behave. And so he's doing this. I'm not understanding why he's doing this. He's teaming up with other men who also have lack emotional discipline, and they're behaving in different types of ways. And so by the time I met my girlfriend, her name was Angela. By the time I met her, I was pregnant. I had just broken up with my son's father because my son's father had somehow got involved with these same emotionally, immature men. He had somehow got caught up in their immaturity. And so he was behaving very different because he used to always be a gentleman as well. He was perfectly fine. It's not like he disrespected me when we was together. It suddenly he became like different once he interacted with these other men that lacked emotional discipline. So here I am, broke in a hotel, pregnant, because that's where my son's father left me, right? So Angela is talking me through. She's talking me through the pain, and I'm telling you, I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. Like, it's days Angela just talked me off the ledge, and it was almost every day because I was pregnant. I was already in a bad headspace. I was just broken up with. Like, you can only imagine how terrified I was by being in a hotel alone, and I'm pregnant. Like, it's hard. Like, you guys don't understand. It's hard as shit to be in that situation. And people were chastising me for it as if I put myself in the situation by making a poor choice in man, instead of holding my son's father accountable for how he handled me. People were blaming me for why I was in this situation. Now, I do want to take accountability because I did put my trust in a Dusty. Like, this is why I tell women all the time, do not lower your standards. If you don't want to date a guy that has dreads, don't date a guy that has dreads. If you don't want to date a guy who has a blue collar job, then don't date a guy who has a blue collar job. Now, all of the men with blue collar jobs, some of y'all tell me y'all make a lot of money as a blue collar uh, worker. It's not about your number two. I dated a guy, my son's father, but instead of me not dating him because of it, my ass decided that I wanted to help him get his GED. Don't do that. Like, don't build a man. My thing is, you can't bank on these guys' potential. You can't bank on their potential. If a man is over 30 and he's still struggling, there is something going on with him. There's a difference between a man in his early 20s trying to get his GED versus a man who's 38 trying to get his GED. It's a difference. So you can bank on a guy's potential if he's younger. If he's older and he's still having issues, if he's still behind and had a very late start, like my son's father was, you can't bank on his potential because there's something going on with him that will weigh you down. He was kind of like an anchor. So anyway, Angela's talking to me to get me through my issues, right? With Priest. Now, I'm telling her stuff. I'm speaking to her about my private life. I'm being vulnerable with her. Now, mind you, this is a person that I never met in person. This is a person that I should have never chose to do that with. Because you cannot do that with people that you meet online initially. You have to take the time to get to know people first and for an extended amount of time first before you start trusting them with your personal information. So she's sitting here, she talking me through my pregnancy. I have my son. At the same time, I'm being chastised, stalked, harassed, all types of stuff by former moderators, people who were in my audience previously, people I trusted, Chris, some other exes, all types of just bullshit. And I said to Angela, I said, listen, I'm going to need for you to not deal with this cult of people that has decided to build a community of people just chastising me and harming my life. Because that was the sole purpose of the group. If the sole purpose of the group is to harm Soncerae, and you're my friend, I'm going to need for you to not interact with these people. But she wanted to interact with them anyway. And this is what ended up aiding in the demise of our friendship. Because I expressed to her my concern as far as her dealing with people who had dubious characters. Why would I want to deal with someone or have a friendship with someone else who is interacting with a group of people that have a sole purpose of trying to destroy my life, my family, everything, right? These people are saying I did stuff to them that I've never done. They're creating fake accounts, fake emails, telling people stuff I never said. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is way too much. So me and this girl's friendship ended up, ending. Did I think to call the guy that she used to sleep with and have an interaction with him? No. And he reached out to me, right? I had Angela's exes emailing me, wanting to talk about Angela. And I refused. I refused. First of all, I didn't understand how somebody that she was dealing with knew who I even was. So something seemed wrong with that to me. It seemed off. It seemed like somebody was purposely like emailing me her stuff, trying to get us to, you know what I mean? Like to be in a worse situation than what we were in. So I felt like this could possibly be this group of people in this community who've orchestrated all of this drama all over the internet. By this time, my hands are dirty. Everybody's hands are dirty. My hands are dirty because my ass is sitting here defending myself against a whole bunch of people. Thing deserves a response. So I refuse to be the person that anybody that has something negative or low energy to say with her between the two of y'all. I didn't realize it was a person pretending. And because YouTube is such a big thing and I'm big on it, she happened to see it. They sent me a link to her. They sent me her phone number, her email address, and I had never seen any of this before. Now, it didn't occur to me until later on that this was these group of people, this community of people that were orchestrating drama. So they could tell Chris that I was interacting with his daughter so he could feel uncomfortable. Now, Chris kind of should have known better. You know what I mean? He should have. But Chris is the type of person where he's a sweetheart. Like, let's get this out the way. Chris is a sweetheart, okay? Chris is smarter than how he's been behaving. He's not a bad person. He's doing bad things. You understand? He's not a bad person. He is so sweet and funny. But the problem with Chris is he can be easily influenced, and he will allow people to tell him anything to get him to do something. And that's one thing you cannot be on social media. Like, you cannot be the type of person that allows anybody to influence your way of thinking. You have to go out there and do research. You have to figure out the motives for why people are saying things to you, talking to you, encouraging you to do something negative. What are the motives behind somebody telling you to do something negative to somebody else? This is the thing. This is the mistake a lot of people make. It wasn't just him. I made that mistake before too, because people would tell me stuff and I would just automatically believe it, not even looking to see if they had proof and receipts. They'd say something like, "Oh, such and such said something about you, and I just wanted to tell you. I just wanted to look out for you, girl." No, people saying that because they want to orchestrate some drama 9 times out of 10. So you got to go to them and ask for proof and receipts, right? So when this teenager came to me and said, "Hey, Chris's daughter is mad at him," I was like, first of all, I don't want Chris's daughter to feel anyway negative towards her father. What happened between me and him is something that happened between 2 adults. It's not something that his daughter should feel some type of way about. Like, I don't get that. And so he ended up telling everybody, because I guess somebody told him, he ended up telling everybody that I stalked his daughter. And I think deep down inside, he knew I didn't. I think deep down inside, he knew I would not do this. But he ran with it. And the reason why he ran with it is because, like I said, he lacked emotional discipline. He was hurt. You know what I mean? And when people are hurt, they just do all types of shit. So, back to Angela, this live stream from last night. Now, Angela gets on to Clyde Diva's channel, right? And a lot of you don't know who Clyde diva is. A lot of you don't know who Angela is. A lot of you don't know who Chris is. And this is why it's hard for me to talk about something like this, because I don't want you to have a negative perspective of these people. I just am telling you my experience with these people. Okay, and it's up to you to decide, how you want to deal with these people. I'm not creating a live stream so you can pick a side. I'm here to bring a solution to something that you may have experienced, and I want you to learn from my lessons about how I dealt with these people, because I feel like at some point I dealt with all of these people in a inappropriate manner, especially when it came time for me to deal with their feelings, because I didn't have the bandwidth to deal with their feelings because I was dealing with my own. So last night, Angela, she gets onto Clyde Diva's channel, and the live stream community is a very separate type of community. Like, my videos, like sometimes when I do videos, I do edited, content, right? Where my video is like, it got an intro, they're sponsored, people pay me for it, a paid promotion is in it, something like that. They're very professional. It's for TV, because that's what I do. That's genuinely why I'm on YouTube. I'm a producer. That's what I do. YouTube is what I do. Live streams, on the other hand, is a completely different thing, because live streams are usually something the average person just sit down and does. It's not a well put together production. A lot of the times when I do live streams, I don't get paid promotion. Like, sponsors are not looking for my live streams. They're looking for my edited content. Okay. So Angela gets onto Clive. I said that like 3 times. Angela gets onto Clive Diva's channel. And what disturbed me about this last night was that she spoke about how she, had got cozy with Chris. And she said, the reason why I decided to no longer be cozy with Chris was because I didn't like the way that he treated women. Now, my thing was, you didn't like the way that he treated me when he and I was going through what we was going through. So getting cozy with him afterwards for a year and a half wouldn't have been feasible for you if you genuinely felt that way. You didn't genuinely feel that way. You exposed Chris. When you told Chris that you tried to get us to be cool with each other, and you tried to get us on the phone with each other, and she did. She tried to get he and I to squash our beef because it had exploded all over YouTube. It was like this big thing that everybody was having the conversations about. And everybody was depicting me as this side chick hoe that Chris wanted everybody to depict me as. He didn't want people to depict me as this woman that he loved, and as this woman that he wished he could be with. He wanted everybody to see me as something negative. And I think he wanted that is because that's the only way he could deal with he and I not kicking it. Sometimes in order to justify like what you're doing or how you feeling, you got to create your own definition in your mind. He couldn't control what's happening with me, so he wanted to control how other people viewed me. And sometimes people who aren't emotionally disciplined do that to people sometimes. So he had depicted me as like this side chick, that was like detrimental, even though we had a great time. Angela had called me and she wanted me to sit down and talk to Chris. And Chris had tried to talk to me before in a panel that I did on this channel, on Nyla Says channel. No, it was Taz Exclusives. Taz Exclusives and Nyla Says are 2 other content creators. And like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think I had got onto their panel for maybe like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. Now, anybody that knows me, I don't do panels. I don't do interviews. And the reason why is because I feel like these are opportunities for people to try to chastise me or try to hurt me, not really try to understand me as a person. My lifestyle is very different from other people's. And a lot of times people will put me onto their platform just to make fun of me or to be hurtful, not necessarily because they want to genuinely understand why I'm poly or why I'm so transparent and honest about my life. And so I get onto Taz's channel and I'm trying to speak about my experiences with being stalked and harassed by this cult of people. And Chris comes on to the panel. And I'm like, who invited dude? Now, this is why I don't like doing panels. Because someone will invite another person on the panel, side blind me, because they know if they tell me that this person is going to come on the panel, I'm not going to do the panel. I'm not going to agree to do a panel where I'm sitting here arguing back and forth with people when no one's listening to each other. Because I'm the type of person, I like to do resolution-based type of content. I don't like to sit down and argue back and forth with people. I just can't stand it. And it seemed like so many people wanted me to come onto their channels so it can create more of a problem or flame of fire. And I just wasn't interested in that. You know? I just wasn't. I can't. I don't know. I just was not interested in that. And so, Rude, hey, I don't think that was last June. I don't know. Because I remember my son being really small, because I was home alone with my son. And that's what I tried to explain to everybody before. Like, the reason why I don't do a lot of panels, another reason why I don't do a lot of panels, is because I'm a single mom. I don't have time. I'm a single mother. I have several businesses. Okay? I don't have time to be on no 2-hour, 3-hour panels. I just don't. I'm about to be finished with this live stream in a minute, because I'm about to wrap it up. But to and Rude and I don't know if it was, that's what I'm trying to say. Rude, you're saying it was you saying it was last June. That was like just a year ago, right? No, it was like 2 years ago. I think it was the June before that. Anyway, I don't even know why I get caught up in that. Anyway, listen, my point is, Angela tried to get me and Chris to talk. And we got on the phone with each other, and he wasn't listening to anything I was saying. Because I was trying to explain to him, dude, I didn't get on YouTube to hurt you. I got on YouTube to tell other women to not make the mistakes I made. And that the Unicorn Atlanta book that I wrote had nothing to do with me exposing you. It had more to do with me talking about how you helped me improve as a woman, especially sexually. And you would know that if you sat down and you had a conversation with me. But you don't see it that way because you're allowing someone else to determine what you should think about me. You think because I made a video telling women to not fulfill the sexual fantasies of other men and only fulfill their own sexual fantasies, you think that that's a hit at you. But you had already classified me as a hoe. And I wanted women to understand that no matter what you do with these men, no matter how many favors you do for them, no matter how many secrets that you keep, when it comes time for them to participate in self-preservation, that's what they're going to do. They're not going to give a fuck about you. And as a woman, you have to be okay with that consequence if you're going to sleep around with men. If you're going to be a side chick, if you're going to do that, you have to be okay with that. So instead of you sitting there being okay with that, don't do it at all. Don't be a side chick at all. Don't fulfill their sexual fantasies. This is what I was teaching women. But Chris was taking it personal. And instead, he should have handled it professionally and took a percentage of that book. Because he wouldn't have been struggling financially. Money from book, listen, book money is residual money. That would have been passive income for Chris had he just cooperated. But he was so emotionally undisciplined that he couldn't even handle it. And we're talking about a man who claims he owns a security business. You are a businessman. When I came to you and said, do you want a piece of this money? You should have took that shit. And whatever it was you was feeling, you could have kept that to yourself or spoken to me about it privately. So Angela tries to get me and Chris on the phone. We on the phone. He ain't listening to nothing I'm saying. I end up hanging up. Because I was like, I am not about to sit here and have this low energy conversation where a man is just screaming at me, not listening. I can't do it. And I'm not going to sit here and scream back at him. That's not a conversation. So I get off. And the part that hurts me the most about Angela, the part that hurts me the most about Angela, and I want women to understand this. Like, I need you women to understand, when you build your friendships online, be selective about who you build your friendships online with. I feel like Angela uses me at her own convenience. She uses me when she wants to portray herself as better than everybody else. She claims she's an advocate for me, but yet she spent a year and a half on the phone with Chris getting cozy. If you was genuinely my friend, you would have never done that. And a lot of times people get on the internet and they have all of these things that they do behind the scenes, whether they're messy, gossip, expose people, lie about people. Like, she exposed Chris because she told everybody, oh, well, when Soncerae hung up that phone, Chris said he loved her. Do you think Chris wanted everybody to know that? You exposed him. That's why Chris is mad at Angela today. He's mad at Angela right now because he feels like she exposed him. Well, she did, because she told something that he told her in confidence. So now he has to worry about all of the other stuff he told her that he shouldn't have, because there's no reason in the world why Chris should have felt comfortable with talking to Angela. And it's the same thing with Angela. Angela, you shouldn't have felt comfortable enough to talk to Chris. Now, if Angela felt uncomfortable with the way Chris handled women, she would have never talked to him, because she paid attention to how he treated me. That would have been enough right there. But no, she wanted to talk to him. She wanted to get cozy with him. That's why, women, you have to be careful who you cool with, who you tell your shit to. Me and Chris should both learn a valid lesson about dealing with Angela. If Chris didn't learn his lesson about dealing with Minister Jap, because he, from what I understand, he ended up telling Angela that nobody should trust Minister Jap. I told y'all not to trust Jap from the beginning. I told y'all how Jap was. I told Angela how this cult community was and how she shouldn't deal with them, but she dealt with them anyway. I tried to warn Chris long before, don't deal with these people, but he thought I was blackmailing him. We can all be warned all day long, and I'm warning everybody else. When you build friendships with people, when they decide they want to be wishy-washy and shit, like Angela wishy-washy and rude, you got something to do with this, because yesterday I could have sworn y'all was beefing, right? Somebody tell me y'all was beefing. And I thought y'all was beefing. Like, I heard you saying something negative about it maybe last week. And then suddenly I hear a live stream and y'all on this live stream just completely fine with each other. And I'm thinking, how the fuck? Okay, all right, y'all can make amends. And I seen Angela easily make amends with other people, but she can't seem to do that with me. I have always encouraged Angela to go onto her channel and say something positive for other women, because I always felt like Angela was a positive force. You know, I always felt like she could help the black women in our community. But I feel like she squanders her wealth. She squanders it because she has talent, but she misuses it when she uses her platform to spew all this profanity, all of this name calling on there drunk and high. It just kills any opportunity she has to grow. And from the very beginning, I've always been the person that encouraged Angela to use this platform as a way to help the community. Always. But Angela does not give me credit for that. I saw in her community tab, she gave Nicole Michelle that credit. And I couldn't believe it. When people tell me that Angela posts something positive about me, I never trust it. I never trust it. Because everything that Angela posts is in collaboration with her trying to convince somebody of something. It's never genuine. It's never like, oh, I just posted this because I love someone or I saw something that I like. No, it's an action for her to convince somebody of something. Like I said, when I say that she misuses, she's trying to depict herself as something. Like she took credit for cleaning up the mess. Like she was like, I clean this up. Now people tread lightly when they talk about, you know, Soncerae. They don't chastise her. I don't know who lied to you, Angela, but I'm sure it's other people out here still making videos about me, boo. You didn't stop nothing. If anything, What stopped everything was me no longer having a response every time, me no longer putting any energy into it, and people no longer getting views and adoration for creating that type of content. You understand? Like, YouTube is not having it anymore. If YouTube was to continue to allow what they were allowing before, instead of just simply deleting y'all channels now, it would be, this content would still be up here. Think about this. People were getting hundreds of thousands of views from dragging me because I happened to be that it girl at the time. But when that shit died down, when I'm no longer doing what I used to do, when I'm no longer on top of my game, and I'm no longer getting the views that I used to get on my channel, now of course it doesn't make sense to make a video about me, because now you're not getting the views, you're not getting the likes, you're not getting the adoration. It has nothing to do with you, Angela. Nothing. And for you to take credit for it, like, oh, the Viper Pit doesn't do blah blah blah. No. This cult of people, the Viper Pit, that you coined them that. This cult of community, right? They let up off of me because it was no longer beneficial for them. It had nothing to do with you. It just wasn't, like, it's not popping anymore. Now, if I decide to become, go back to the way that I was, where I'm getting all of these hits and views, of course, every single little thing that I do will be classified as controversial, because people are putting a magnifying glass on me again. Now people have taken the magnifying glass off me. They're not paying attention to what I'm doing. But the second I get back on top of my game, then the magnifying glass is going to be back on. And all of the people who were gaining hits and subscribers and all that shit will be back on my ass. If they haven't let up, because a lot of them haven't let up. You just think they have. Now, my moderators have said to me, Soncerae has died down significantly. The trolling is died down significantly. It's because I'm not putting as much energy into it as I used to. I just stopped dealing with it. I stopped having a response every time. You know what I mean? So anyway, Angela can't take credit for people discontinuing fucking with me. That's number one. Like, fuck that. Number two, Angela has dirty hands. Her hands are not clean. The only way that you can keep your hands clean online is if you disassociate yourself with people who are orchestrating drama and gossiping. You like, you second in command, Angela, to somebody who gossips and, is about that drama all the time. Nyla admits she gossips. As long as you are around that type of crowd, that's what you're going to produce. You are the company that you keep. And I said that. You're the company that you keep. I heard you say last night that Egypt Ann turned on you. Well, that's what you get. You deserve Egypt Ann turning on you. And let me explain why you deserve Egypt Ann turning on you. Because you turned on me. And you used her as a tool to turn on me. Let me give you an example. Egypt Ann and I were fine because she had this thing, she couldn't stand Jap. So she would make these videos about Jap. She would spit the truth about me and Jap, because people was trying to overlook what was happening between me and Jap, because Jap good at lying about it. So he would tell like a whole bunch of guys. He was doing the same thing Chris was doing. That lack of emotional discipline. So all this negative stuff that they would say about me, Egypt Ann would be like, listen, I'm not buying that brand. I know what happened between you and Soncerae. This is what it is, blah, blah, blah. Then suddenly out of nowhere, Egypt Ann changes. She flips the script on me. And this is when I knew somebody told her something in her ear. They didn't give her proof and receipts. She's just listening to something somebody told her. Now, I said it. I said, Egypt Ann, you're listening to something somebody told you without getting any proof or receipts. I'm telling you, I didn't say these things. I didn't do these things. But she didn't listen. She's pissed, right? And I'm like, all right, whatever. All right, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with Egypt Ann. She wishing death on me. She's saying all this negative stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, Egypt Ann is spreading this rumor that I punched myself in the stomach to kill my son. Now, this is something Angela tells Egypt Ann, and this is where Egypt Ann got it from. And someone sent me proof and receipts, right? So I'm like, oh, God. So I go to Angela myself. I said, instead of me just flying off the handle, I go to Angela myself. Did you say this? Did you tell Egypt Ann that I punched myself in the stomach because I didn't want my son? Angela goes, yeah, because I thought you doxed me. Okay, when have I ever doxed you? None of the information that Angela has ever told me has left my lips. Not one time. Who she dating, what she doing. This stuff that she told me, none of it has left my lips, not ever. Still to this day, even after she stabbed me in the back, even after she told these hurtful ass rumors, all of this stuff, all of the wishy-washy, one minute I support Soncerae, next minute I'm an advocate of Soncerae, next minute I'm not an advocate of Soncerae, still to this day, I haven't done it. Because what I am when it comes to sisterhood and womanhood is that I'm gonna have your back regardless. Now I'm gonna tell you something. There is one woman on this planet that I cannot fuck with, and I never will, and that's Adonia. Because number one, I don't like pick-me's. That's number one. Number two, I don't like how this bitch participated in orchestrating the drama between Priest, Jap, and Chris. I will never like mend my situation with Sidonia. Sidonia fucked something up for my son. I have a whole nother problem with her. She is not a person that I got to know over the internet. She is somebody that I knew in real life. It's a very separate situation. So when we sit here and we talk about online friendships, internet drama, shit like that, my situation with Angela, I got to know her off the internet, but I shouldn't have took it there because she wasn't somebody I could trust to begin with. What Angela does not do is self-reflection. Her hands are dirty, but she doesn't want to admit it. She doesn't even realize it. She hasn't done the self-realization. And there are a lot of people that she won't talk to because those people bring that realization to her. Like Danini was saying, every time I try to talk to her, she doesn't want to talk to me, right? Now, it could be a number of reasons, but this is what I think. I think the reason why Angela won't talk to Danini is because Danini brings some type of self-realization to Angela. And what Angela avoids is self-realization. You may not be doxing the fuck out of people, Miss Black Woman Sphere, but you are exposing people. You are lying. You are hurting, and your hands are dirty. They are. The dirtiest thing you admitted to doing yesterday was getting cozy with Chris. And I definitely won't fuck with you after that. I definitely don't fuck with you after that. Because you know the history of me and Chris. And you should have never got close to him because I was your friend before you got with him. I don't care how much beef you and I have. No nigga could ever hit me up and talk to me about you. And niggas have tried. Ain't never gonna happen. And so if there was any opportunity for us to reconcile our friendship, because I wanted it to in May, when people were spreading that rumor that I passed away, I called Angela. Angela was the first person I called and told people I ain't die. Everybody thought I was dead. I called Angela and I told her I wasn't dead. She was the first person. I left a message. I called her. She played a game. I was like, all right. But since then, till now, when people tell me, oh, Angela posted something about you, or Angela said something about you, or blah, 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 I get hurt every time. But I control my emotions. And I think, oh, with time, me and her will just naturally iron out whatever it is. Even when she says something positive about me, I can't trust it. I can't trust it. So I just be like, all right, maybe that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. With time, we'll be all right. It wasn't until last night that I realized I'm never going to be able to reconcile with Angela because of how she dealt with Chris. I'd have never done that. And how many more confirmations do I need? How many more red flags do I need to realize that Angela is not the best person to have a friendship with? I'm sitting here yearning for a friendship that would be toxic. I knew my situation with Angela would be toxic when she made me do that 8-hour live stream while I was pregnant with everybody from the Viper Pit, even though I told her I didn't want to do it. I adamantly told Angela I don't want to do this. And we sat down and we did that 8-hour live stream. I let everybody get off their chest how they felt about me, and it still didn't repair anything. I knew Angela wasn't my friend when she was so pressed to get with the Viper Pit, even though I told her these were people that she should have been fucking with. She did it anyway. I knew Angela wasn't my friend when she went to Egypt and told Egypt that I punched myself in the stomach. So, because I didn't want my son. These were all indications Angela is not somebody that I should be friends with. But still this year, I was sitting here missing my friendship with her. And it wasn't until last night that I came to the realization that this chick was never my friend. Like, really? Like, I said that. I said, like, I was on the God Queen Live drama channel. Y'all know I got another channel. On that channel, I said, I never trust Angela. She ain't really a friend like that. But all this time, I've been truly feeling like at some point, me and her are going to meet and we're going to be fine. I've been thinking that all this time until last night. And it just occurred to me that, man, I made a huge mistake. And when you get onto these platforms, you got to be very selective, y'all. Be very selective about who you getting on the phone. These people have no problem with screenshotting your text messages, manipulating the text message, manipulating people's minds, stabbing you in the back, talking to people that they shouldn't even be talking to. You feel me? In conclusion, the bottom line is that there are people out there who try to depict themselves as if they're better than someone, or if their hands are clean, that their hands are clean. And like I said a minute ago, my hands ain't clean on the internet because I done many times. And it may not been trolling, because y'all troll heavy. I don't really know how to troll. Like, I don't know how to do that. But people always swear Soncerae troll. I don't know how to troll, y'all. It's bad. I'm the worst troll ever. Like, I'm so bad at this shit. I don't know how to make like a fake profile and just be somebody different than who I am. Like, I don't know how to put on that many personalities. So if I got something to say to you, I just say it from my channel. You know what I mean? But the stuff that I have said, the hurtful shit I have said, even though it's been the truth, it's still been hurtful. You know what I'm saying? And I take accountability for that. I may not have done the shit that these other people have done, but I have said some shit that cut deep about Chris, about Jap, shit, even about Bomb Cherry. I said some shit that cut deep with Danini, and I had to apologize because all of this stuff that people say about her murdering her husband and all of that stuff that they say that I don't know how accurate that shit is, but I repeated it because I was frustrated with her, and then I had to end up apologizing. And what a lot of people don't say is that I spent a lot of my time apologizing to people after I did something hurtful to them or said something hurtful to them. Because usually it's just been stuff I've said, not necessarily stuff I've done. So I'm not sitting here trying to depict myself as the person with clean hands who's innocent and all that bullshit. No, because I fought back. Trust me, I had no problem punching you in the mouth same way you do me. And like I said at the beginning of the live stream, not everything has to have a fucking response, man. Not everything you have to have a reaction to. And I felt like I was reacting to everything because I was in such a traumatic space. Like, everything was so hard. And you guys have no idea how hard it is to still publicly come onto this platform being as hurt as I was, stalked as I was, as harassed as I was, and still sit up here and make content and talk to everybody like none of that stuff is happening. That's one of the hardest things I had to do. All right. In order to keep your hands dirty, you got to keep your say something about you. You have to accept that they just talking, because a lot of times you can't control what people saying about you. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about your business. That's number one. Number two, please do not say something over the phone or text somebody something that you don't want nobody to know. If it's a secret, keep that shit to yourself. Because the second you tell that secret and you trust that person to not tell that secret, and then that person tell that secret anyway, next thing you know, a beef starting on the internet because this person done used the internet to tell your secret. Now you going back, tell their secret. No, don't do that. Number 3, don't trust content creators. Don't trust people who create content on the internet. Whether it's a Tasha K, whether it's a Lovely T, whether it's a Tommy Sotomayor, whether it's a Minister Jap, whether it's Soncerae Smith, especially if they're a content creator. All right? You know me, I don't do interviews. I don't interview people. I don't ask people to be on my panel. I might give my opinion about somebody else's life, but it's hard for me to do that because I don't know somebody else's life. I can only give you my opinion about me. Now, I don't expect everybody to like me, and that's another rule. You cannot get on here and expect to love you, because out of all the people that love you, trust me, there's an equal amount of people that hate you. People down my stuff all the time. People ask me why I shut my user ratings off. You know why? Because whether you like it or not don't matter. That's why. It doesn't matter to me. Like, people be like, oh, Soncerae, you should have your that's why you got your user ratings off. No. You guys abuse the button. Either you're up because somebody told you to, or you're thumbsing it down because somebody told you to. It's never because how you genuinely feel. Now, if I say to you, hey, thumbs up the live stream, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a content creator. In order for me to generate more money, you have to thumbs up the live stream. In order for me to make more money, you have to thumbs down the live stream. You see what I'm saying? Engagement, regardless, makes me money. So it doesn't matter whether you like it or dislike it. You engaged. If you like it, user that you are, and it'll just bring me another user. But I'm not anxious to gather a whole bunch of people watching me. I want a selective few. I tell you to like it so people that like you can come, but it doesn't have to be like a shitload of people. I don't need over 100,000 subscribers to feel some type of way. I don't need 1,000,000 subscribers. I just want people to hear what I'm saying, and what I'm saying, apply it to your lifestyle so it can help you have a better lifestyle. That's it. Do not get on the internet trusting internet people. Do not do that. If you want friendships, take it slow. Everybody online right now, you definitely got to be selective about who you being friends with now. Before, it may have been a little easier. Now, people are using the internet, especially criminals, especially people with a criminal record, especially people who are offenders, repeat offenders. They are using the internet because on the internet, you can be whoever the fuck you want to be. You can lie to people all the time. Angela does it every day. Miss, my hands are clean. But nobody that you hurt, regardless to whether you delete a video, delete a live stream, delete a comment, delete a picture, regardless to what you deleting, the people that you hurt are not gonna forget the shit that you said and done. It's not gonna just suddenly go somewhere. Okay? That's my message. All right? Make sure you thumbs up the live stream. Anyway, I'm probably going to put this live stream on members only. I'm gonna have it unlisted for about a day, and after that, I'm gonna put it members only. And I want you to tell her that I brought her up. Claudiva, Suge, Suge was into you, okay? Now, I used to like Suge until I realized that Suge had went to see Chris. My problem with Suge is the same problem that I had with Angela. Basically, I couldn't like rely on his loyalty, because once I found out that he flew to Atlanta to meet Chris Law, I was done, because I just felt like I thought he was my friend. And anybody that builds a friendship with Chris, they always end up turning on me because Chris likes to speak negatively about me. He doesn't like to tell them the truth about who I am. And that bothers me about him, because I tell people the truth about him all day long. I tell people he's funny. I tell people he's sweet. I tell people he's smarter than been depicted himself. I have positive shit to say about his bitch ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll do some bitch ass shit, and he been doing some lame bitch ass shit online. But it still does not take away from the positive stuff that I learned from Chris. And I always give him credit for that. But when people that are supposed to be on my team, on my side, or advocate for me, are not supposed to be talking to people who classify themselves as my enemy, never trust somebody who does that. Do not trust somebody who does that. because they're playing both sides of the fence. Now with Clyde Diva and Suge, I genuinely feel like Suge cared for Clyde Diva. And I want Clyde Diva to understand that when Suge makes content about you, sweetheart, and I see it makes you feel uncomfortable. Like when Angela and Gotti. I told Gotti to stay out of trouble too. It's funny, me and Gotti been talking, and I didn't know Gotti and Angela even knew each other until last night, and it kind of made me feel uncomfortable with Gotti. But then it was like, like what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, God damn. So anyway, um, I saw Clive Diva and how she felt when people would bring up Suge, and how she felt uncomfortable with Angela and Gotti having this conversation about Chris on her platform. I saw the discomfort in her. And I just feel like Clive Diva was being misused by Angela. And Angela used that as an opportunity to talk about something that Clive didn't want to talk about. The way that Clive's platform is, Angela was using her platform for that. To basically just push her own narratives. To be messy. And the best way that you can generate income, if you on the internet and you ain't up here trying to make some bread, you don't need to be here. Flat out. Clyde Diva get on and she trying to make some bread. My suggestion to you, Clyde Diva, is to continue doing what you're doing, right? But when you got people that's creating content about you or wanting to come onto your panel to discuss stuff that don't have nothing to do with you or a specific topic, these are the people that you need to try to keep at arm's length, because these will be the same people that will also try to destroy whatever you build. Just like I told Nyla says before. I said this to Nyla before. I told her before, and she don't listen, but I said it before. Nyla could go just as far as a Cynthia G if she just focused on her content and less on the gossip and the drama. Clyde, you the same way. You have it. Just keep going. Ignore Suge. Suge will get over his feelings eventually. Do not make response videos. Do not keep addressing drama. Do not interact with that shit because it takes you off focus. These people were a distraction. They distracted me from my own success. And they may have distracted me for a moment. I'm back on my game or whatever. But that's a couple of years that I wasted responding back to this fuck shit when I could have been way more popular than I am right now and making way more money on my channel right now. Like, I have to rebuild my channel now because of these dumb people. Because I allowed these people to distract me with their fuck shit. I'm going to tell Clyde Diva, I'm telling you the same way I told Gotti. Y'all two are making bread on this platform. Focus on that. Less on the drama, more on the business, more on the money, more on the content that's entertaining. But when you entertain drama in that sector of YouTube, you lose your money. You want to rely on donations and cash apps and stuff like that? That's what's up. Do it. People do it all the time. Nicole Michelle does it. Um, what is it? Shira71 does it. Chrissy does it. It's a lot of content creators that generate income off of their cash app. Me, I don't do that. I get money from sponsors and advertising. But take your YouTube channel serious because it can take you further than just YouTube. And the reason why you're doing content to begin with is not just for the money. It's supposed to be a stepping stool. It's not supposed to be a tool where you sit there and gossip about everybody and talk about how you on this platform, but not to make money because you solid in other areas. If you solid in other areas, find another way to entertain yourself. Because being on YouTube, wasting your time is foolish. If you are not making money on YouTube and you just come here to be entertained, that's fine. You want to vent. But if you are a content creator and you are creating content every day, you're getting on here doing live streams and videos and shit, and you're not getting paid for it, you a dumbass. You are really stupid, because this is a perfect place for you to be generating an additional source of income. And we're talking about passive residual shit. Focus on being a better person, better business person. Get your finances together. Fuck all the other bullshit. That's all I got to say. I got to go, y'all. Peace out.